Good morning, everybody. It is meteorologist Agent's weather forecast. Welcome back to another video. This video is going to have very detailed, forecast on how much longer is this cold air going to last, and when's the spring temperature is going to come. Some of us in the south, or depending where, are experiencing the spring temperatures, but that's only like because it's above average, and then out of nowhere, cold air will come and stay there. So I'm here to give you a forecast on how much longer is this cold air going to be here. So let's go on and check out this the model. This is if it's the temperatures and if it's above average or below average. And so late this week, much of the country is going to be below average. Parts of the Carolinas up to 4 to 5 degrees below average, and even parts of Texas and Mexico up to 7 degrees below average. And then you can see there's that above average temperatures in the ocean, and then that's making it warm for parts of the western part of the country, and then the southern part of Florida near Miami and all that. That is above average by just a couple degrees. So this is only one day. This is Saturday. So let's go on, check out the other part of the week. So you're probably thinking, wait, I thought you said it was going to be cold for the country. Well, yes, like I said, some of us will experience spring temperatures, and then it's going to go back to very cold. So this is what I'm going to show you guys, for you don't expect it to be warm for the rest of this spring. So a lot of warm air comes in from the Pacific, drops in, and kicks whatever cold air was at out into the north. So much, almost 3/4 of the country is at some point above average in spring temperatures, except for parts of the Carolinas. Then the parts of the west are getting below average. Still parts of Texas below average, but much of the U.S. is above average, from 1 to 5 degrees above average, where it is here, where it's one of the warmest parts so far in the country. So let's go on to show you guys. It's going to be warm for a couple days. Let's go to the 11th. Wow, does that warm air spread a lot? It is like covering a very good amount of the country. Very warm for parts of the eastern part and the Midwest, where Minnesota can get up to 6 degrees above average, except for those areas in the west where it is cold. It's just a big ridge just blocking that air, blocking that warm air and keeping that cold air and average out, or keeping that cold air in and letting that warm air out. But no, this will not last a very long time, or it will last a couple days, but it's not going to stay there. By the 13th, it's still pretty warm, but you can see the yellow colors and orange get a bit lighter, so that means it's not as warm. It's still above average, but the temperatures are a bit colder. Now it's only about 1 to 2 degrees, maybe even 3 at most, above average instead of 5 or 6. And then much more cold air starts to spread at parts to the west, maybe even 4 degrees below average, just under 5. And then that cold air stays in parts of Canada, and then that warm air stays for parts of the eastern part of the country. If you're probably thinking, there's no way we're going to be above average for a couple of days, there's no way we're going to go back to cold. Trust me, it's going to get back to the cold. It starts to get more into the southern part, like Texas, Mexico, starts to feel that warmth. But let's go to the 16th. Big difference. Here's the 15th. Very big difference in 2 days. Only the southern parts in the states are under above average, and then that warm air from Canada is still trying to get for parts of the west on the coast, but it's not good enough to deal with all the cold air coming in from Canada. Parts of Minnesota and parts of Wyoming, 6 degrees below average. Very big difference from 6 degrees above average to 6 below average. Let's go to the 21st, about a week ahead. Look, it's still very cold. 3/4 of the country still below average. Sorry, the only parts that won't stay below average is parts of southern Florida. those areas will not reach the cold air. It's not that cold to push all the way down south with that Caribbean warm air blocking it from getting there. But look at this. Almost this whole circle is above 2 to 3 degrees below average. It's not cold enough yet to stretch across to the coast, but it get cold enough to get on the Gulf of Mexico. Very cold, blocks that warm air in Canada out. You could just see all the way to the 3rd of May. Very cold still, below average, even stretching for parts of Canada. It was warm here in these parts of Canada, and now it's pretty cold. That cold air is just trying to keep on pushing out the warm air, and then more warm air comes in from the west and the Pacific and brings that cold air with that just big ridge with the average temperatures right here in between the cold and the warmth. So let's go all the way to the 16th of May. You can see now it's still pretty cold for much of the country, but more of the country is now average temperatures, scattered warmth, but still about half of the country still cold, but scattered warmth. So the cold air is still going to stay here for about a month at most, at least. Let's go on to the 8 to 14 day outlook to show you guys what it's looking like. Very, very warm for Alaska. They're getting some pretty good spring temperatures, maybe even to summer. But look at this. Like I said, almost 3/4 of the country next 8 to 14 days will be below average. Very cold for parts of Cheyenne, but for parts of Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Montana, and then near average for parts of the gray with no color, and then very warm for parts of Florida and the southern parts of the country, especially Florida, where they would not get below average. So very cold for parts of the northern part of the country, even the parts of the plains. But here's that ridge that blocks up the difference. Let's get to the precip. Here is more like spring precip. Most of the country is going to get above average precip. Now that's what spring's about, all of the rain and bringing out the flowers. Much of the country is in about 70% chance of above average precip, and the parts of the coast and the east and parts of the Midwest can get up to about 33% chance of that happening. But I want to about 80% chance of the country is some above precip. Let's get to the humidity. This is what it's looking like, I think, tomorrow, I believe. A lot of humidity for parts of the country, especially parts of the west and the east coast. A lot of humidity in the Midwest, and then pretty dry for parts of the plains for now. So I just want to show you guys that humidity, and let me show you quick, really fast, how it's going to look like pretty wet. I already showed you this before on this. I already showed you the precip is going to be above average, and here's just showing it on a more visible way to see that much of the east will be above average precip, and this is the precip, and then here is scattered dry, where you can see where it was on this, where you can see the near average, where it would still be kind of dry, not above average. This is the 4th of May, pretty wet across much of the east. The areas that would be rarely above average precip is this area, where if I just leave that circle there, you will just see that it just stays there until it gets to mid-May. But a lot of precip, especially getting to next week, right here, a lot of precip, but might cancel some activities that you have out for spring. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick video on what it's looking like for when this warm air, when the spring temperatures, humidity, and all that's coming. This was a short video on it. Might have another one later on. So, hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and bye.